Let's see. I feel like this angle is slightly more flatter. Hello, hi, welcome to my channel. This angle is slightly different. Um, I have my laptop on a stand and I have it up today because I don't know. I need to fix my posture. Ooh, it's so warm back here, y'all. Hold up. I'm gonna have to turn this down. So basically, I'm gonna do today what I did yesterday and what I've done before. And so, one second. Okay. Sorry about that. So basically, I'm gonna do what I did yesterday, or what I've done. It'll be an oracle card, and then the cards that come out to sort of clarify it. I'll do one for each, and well, we'll figure it out. And then hopefully tomorrow, the thing I was ordering will be in, so I can do. I kind of want to do lay all the cards out like I used to in the past. Not for any particular season or reason, but just because I've been feeling it. But I want to have that first because I do. So I'm going to give these a few shuffles up. And maybe it won't be so, like, heavy today. Maybe it will. I don't know. And I'm using the same thumbnails because I'm using the same cards. I didn't feel like doing a new one. And I wanted to I wanted to use the Pride Tarot. Ooh. I wanted to use the Pride Tarot. But then I was like, but I would have to take another thumbnail. And I could have done it, but these work. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll see when it comes out. So, if y'all hear Animal Crossing in the background, oh, that's because Animal Crossing is in the background. My friend is visiting my island right now, and I told her I wasn't going to be on. A whole bunch of cards just came out. We're going to look at them. We start with the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of partnerships and tasks that require more than one set of hands. And then we have the set of wands, the Son of Wands, which speaks to moving forward with the passion. The Six of Cups speaks to an element of nostalgia or the past. So maybe resuming a past project. And then we have the World. The World card could speak to us. Oop, I saw the next card. So the World card could speak to us sort of this way. Oh my gosh. There we go. Emphasis on the Son of Wands. So this could speak to, so this is about the past, this is about a passion, right? So maybe there was a project that we had that we didn't necessarily have the full set of skills to see through, and now we have this Father of Wands coming out, which means that maybe we could have grown a little, maybe we could have matured a little, maybe our skill set could have matured a little, and now we have this Two of Wands, so we can sort of move it forward where maybe it was stuck in the past. And we have the Sun card and this Ace of Cups, which means that this could be, oh, that's the daughter, which means that this could be something that brings us a lot of joy, and a lot of joy through the element of self-expression. And then it can also bring us some kind of healing through the expression of that self. And we have the Daughter of Wands, the Daughter of Pentacles. Sorry, I always mix the suits up. We have the Daughter of Pentacles, which speaks to planting a seed. It's also, daughters are also messengers as pages, right? So it could also be the case that maybe this project is going to take a bit of time and now you have a bit of time, or you can work on it a little bit at a time. Because with the Nine of Wands, maybe you burnt out on it before because you worked on it too much, but now you see that whatever this project is may have some kind of benefit to the world. Maybe the project involved an element of like storytelling, like telling your story or someone else's. Then we have this Two of Pentacles, which speaks to balance. So maybe there's a way to avoid the burnout. Oh, well, there's a three. We got the two and the three, which is the five of pentacles. What's the five of pentacles in this deck? It's the horse. No, that's the five of cups. It's the wilting flower. Um, so if you do work with partners, make sure they kind of sort of share your vision, or you're at least on the same page. Um, oof. I guess with the Sun card and the Daughter of Pentacles here, I don't know what kind of project this could potentially be for whoever may or may not see this. But so I did a, a innovation competition, and they told us that we needed to work out, especially if you take the idea forward, if you actually push it to get patented or created or whatever. It's important to sit down and figure out the shares first before money is involved, because once the money starts coming in, things get more complicated. So anything that you need to have balanced or sort of worked out and figured out before, maybe have a little bit of foresight and do it beforehand, before that Daughter of Pentacles turns into a whole full blown like Mother of Pentacles and the money starts coming in, right? Because I guess there was a group that didn't necessarily do that, or they waited until they got she changed her clothes. Okay. They waited until they got um noticed to try to sit down and have the conversation about, like, okay, like, how do we split up the shares? How do we sort of divvy up whatever? And then, of course, once there was money involved, then it made it a lot more interesting, right? Maybe people who didn't necessarily contribute as much all of a sudden want more of a share of the money when they didn't contribute as much in the past. You know what I mean? So maybe it's to kind of sort of have stuff like that figured out beforehand, but also make sure you're working with someone who gets your vision. And speaking of a shared vision, here we have the magician. So someone you can, and I guess that also speaks to like equal contribution, or or compensation that is comparable to the contribution. His paw is on the pinnacle, and then we have two pinnacles right there. Then we have this five of swords. Okay, so maybe all of this happened in the past. Potentially, maybe you had an idea that you worked on, and now it's starting to blow up. And now that it's starting to blow up, you're starting to get, it could be an idea, or it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily, like, it could be a company, it could be a relationship, I guess. I don't know how it would apply to a relationship, but energy is energy. It's something that you kind of sort of worked on in the past that is now shining in a new light and has an opportunity to kind of sort of get big or blow up. Um, and there's almost this energy of like you kind of sort of stepped away from it, and then it started to gain traction, maybe. And now that it's gaining traction, it's coming with a whole bunch of other sort of things. And then we have this judgment card. And the other things it's coming, because it's like you kind of sort of stepped away from it, or you kind of forgot about it. It lost importance to you in some way, but now it's becoming more important, at least to somebody else. And so you're in this space where conversations need to be had. And then we have this Son of Swords, which I don't necessarily like coming after this Five of Swords. Because if there was no contract involved, this Son of Swords might be somebody just taking the idea and running with it. Especially if you don't have like a copyright or a trademark or something like that. If the idea wasn't protected, um, or in the case that all of that happened, then maybe justice is going to be coming because that judgment happened. I don't know. I saw cards and I went with it. Okay. If it resonated, resonate. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if you do have a grand idea moving forward, it would be really good to, number one, make sure you're working with people that you trust. Look over any kind of contracts or anything like that, because what a lot of people unfortunately tend to do is, especially let's say like you do something that is more of a social media type thing, and then you get like a manager or something like that, or you start to work with a company, like make sure or just read things over, right? Because you don't want it to be the case where, let's say, you build something and you don't like the direction that the company is taking it in, but the way that the contracts are written up, they have ultimate and final say, and so then ultimately you have to walk away from something that you like because they have all the control, right? Don't get caught up in the money, I guess. Like read the fine print, make sure you're setting yourself up to be someone who has a position of authority over it, especially if it's your baby. And if you care, if you don't really care, then it's kind of like, maybe you're the type of, or maybe it's the type of thing where you kind of, well, the wands came out, so I feel like you care, but maybe it's the type of thing where, like you just kind of build it to sell it. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then that's the case. All right. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of advice for the future. Um, Also, ooh, bottom of the deck is the Three of Swords in reverse. This might be the only card in reverse in this whole deck. This is an olive bright deck. So, yeah, this is like the only card that's in reverse. So, Three of Swords in reverse. It can be avoided or you're over it. Um, but yeah, so I took a lot of classes. But one of the things that was said was like the difference between like partnerships, companies, and then like LLCs, LLPs, and stuff like that, like limited liability. So if you're going into business, you may want to do it unless you really, really, really trust the people you're going into business with. If you're creating a company or a partnership or a business, you may want to do it under an LL because LL is limited liability, right? So let's say that you're working with some people and one of the people does something shady with the money or whatever. If it's not limited liability, then they hold everyone accountable for the actions of that one person. So let's say one person starts laundering money because that's the thing that people do, and let's say they get discovered. Everyone has liability. So even though you didn't do anything, you're going to be paying for somebody else's mistake. Now, when you do a limited liability, then it limits your liability for someone else's actions. And again, it's all about sort of, and exiled is at the bottom of the deck. It's all about sort of making sure you know who you're working with, making sure they share that vision, protecting your vision, protecting your ability to have a say in that vision, and figuring out anything kind of sort of related to money up front. Um, like just in case, you can be like, you know what, we'll start at 50-50, and as, our contribution sort of whatever, then it'll change. Like if you barely contribute, then this may be like a 20-80 situation, but you're not contributing, so don't be mad. I don't know what that was, but the Three Swords is in reverse now, so okay. There we go. There's the card. Ooh, the solar portal. I haven't seen the solar plexus in a minute. Bottom of the deck is challenges. Challenges. Blocks, fear and negativity and betrayal. Okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting. Maybe someone was burned in a business before. And then the solar portal, solar plexus chakra, which is being centered, balancing power, and manipulation when it's out of balance. So we got manipulation, and then we got what? Blocks, fear, negativity, and betrayal. Manipulation and betrayal. That is heavy with the Three of Swords in reverse, so maybe somebody isn't over it. Goodness. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna end up doing this kind of sort of like I did yesterday, but I'm not gonna use the SKT. I'm gonna use. I'll put the Pride Tarot under, and then I'll go through with these. So, oh goodness, what is this? What is this? I guess I'll just go with it. I guess I was just like, I want to do something like maybe I'll do something today that's less like all of whatever I was doing. Oh, I'm not listening to my peaceful meditations playlist. I guess I don't need it today. Cutting to the Devil in the Star, I think. It was another card. I think it was the Devil in the Star. I know it was the Devil. And now cutting to the Devil in Strength. No, that's the Knight of Pentacles. The Devil and the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. We're going to do 3 face down cards. Or not. Ooh! Well, how many cards is this? It's 4. So all 4 of these are going to go over here. Okay. I'll just go with it over here. And then, okay. I already saw it, but we'll put it down. Oh, okay. No, this is for the Solar Portal. Because the Solar Portal was the card at the top. Yeah. Hold on, wait. I want to redo this. So the cards that, well, we got the Sun and the Moon that came out. The Sun, oh my goodness. So the Sun is with the 4 of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the 5 of Pentacles. So this is interesting. The Sun is with the 4 of Wands, Queen of Cups, and the 5 of Pentacles. And then the Moon card came out by itself. So Sun with the 4 of Wands speaks to a... That's giving me like vibes of like a fairy tale wedding where they're getting married and then someone comes in and crashes the wedding and they're like, you didn't invite me, your kingdom is cursed. Or something happened and it kind of sort of broke it up. Maybe with the Queen of Pentacles, it was related to finances or family. I guess the Queen of Pentacles could be a maternal. Okay, I guess I said maternal. It could be a maternal or a female figure in the family that maybe didn't approve of the relationship with the Sun and the 4 of Wands. And so it caused a lot of drama and stress on one party, and then maybe things kind of sort of fell apart for an additional reason in ways that the other didn't necessarily know, potentially, because the Moon card was there. Or maybe someone is finding it within themselves to tap into their own like desires of what they actually want for their life. And maybe they've never done that before. Maybe they've always kind of sort of gone with whatever that Queen of... No, it was the Queen of Cups, not the Queen of Pentacles. It was the Queen of Cups. Why am I feeling it like a Queen of Pentacles? Well, I guess with the Queen of Cups is just somebody that you don't want to upset. So it's still that same familial type of energy. It's a more of a feminine energy in the family that maybe didn't approve, and someone really values that person. And so with the 5 of Pentacles, it's like instead of doing what they actually want, they choose to listen to whoever that Queen of Cups is, and they put themselves out in the cold because they never pursue what they want. But maybe with that Moon card, because that was the Sun, right? Maybe with the Moon card, it's like they're going to do it anyway. Maybe doing it under the cover of the night. What's that Taylor Swift song when she said it's late and y'all talking real slow and the mama don't know? That's like the only Taylor Swift song I know because when I was younger, my friend's sister would play it all the time. And I was obsessed with that part because the way she said, and we talk real slow because it's late and your mama don't know. I just love that part for some reason. Okay. So first is being centered. Show me being centered, preferably face down, preferably one card. Being centered. Let's see what this is about. Oh, okay. I already saw it. I saw a bit of it because it flipped over. It flipped up, turned over, and went back in the deck when I was shuffling. Show me balancing power. Show me balancing power. Balancing. Oop, okay. Well, all right. Well, hey, this one is face down. Love it. And I know what that one is. So we got 2 cards for balancing power. Now show me manipulation. This is when the solar plexus is out of line. And that could be being manipulated as well. 2 cards came out from manipulation. Bottom of the deck is the Pride card. Emphasis on the sunlight. And there's the Queen. There's the Queen of Pentacles. There she is. Okay. So maybe in the past it was a Queen of Cups situation where you had this female figure in your family who was extra restrictive, maybe for what she thought was good reason. Maybe she thought that she had your best interest at heart, and she didn't necessarily vibe with, trust, whatever you went after. And then let's say that you had the son with that Four of Wands, but then she was bringing in this Five of Pentacles influence. And then, so let's say for whatever reason, whatever gave you the Four of Wands, you're not with anymore. And now you're in the moon energy. So you went from being the sun to the moon. And now maybe since they see you in this moon, they're like, well, maybe something about that Four of Wands actually did bring them the sun. And I'd rather, since I love whoever this is, I'd rather see them happy. And I thought I was doing what was in your best interest. But now that this Queen of Pentacles, who I must. Oh, and look, here's the Five of Pentacles. And what's under this Five of Pentacles? It's the Queen of Cups. It's the Queen of Cups. I thought it was the page. It's the Queen of Cups. So the Five of Pentacles is right behind this Queen. So maybe she's changed because she's realized that without whatever that Sun and Four of Wands is, like, she doesn't want you to be in this Five of Pentacles. And so now there's this whole thing happening. There's a lot of stuff happening and maybe changing and all kinds of other stuff. Right? Because I feel like the Queen of Cups is more of the, like, she's more of a helicopter parent type of energy. Um, and I feel like the Queen of Pentacles cares as much, but she isn't as controlling. And she understands, like, the Queen of Pentacles understands growth in a way that the Queen of Cups doesn't. It's like, to the Queen of Cups, you'll always be a baby. You'll always be the child. But to the Queen of Pentacles, it's like, the Queen of Pentacles understands that you've grown and you've matured and you're an adult now. And you make your own decisions, and their relationship with you changes because they're not a decision maker for you anymore. Give me one moment. Oh, where did that come from? Give me 1 second, y'all. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Man, I should have grabbed the water before. I didn't. Oh well. I am wearing a different shirt today. The color looks similar-ish, but these are my strengths. Oh no, it's not open. Give me one moment. One moment, please. My strengths are adaptability, empathy, input, intellection, and ideation. So adaptability is actually my number one strength. And I thought empathy would have been my number one strength, but then adaptability came out, and I guess I see it now. So I'm gonna give this 2 shuffles and then a cut. I'm gonna flip this 3 of Swords back upright because this is an all upright deck. And then ideation is ideas. Intellection is the way I process and store information, I guess, and collect it. And then input is, I forget. Okay, the 3 of Wands came out, followed by, so 3 of Wands, Daughter of Swords, the Sun, and the 8 of Cups. So the 3 of Wands in this deck speaks to us basically leaving the nest. You see these 2 wands hoisting up the third one. So in this deck, it speaks to like other people. It's like the opposite of the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is something that you can't do alone, that you need other people to help you with. This is something that you have to do alone, that other people can't help you with. It's something that like everyone else has done everything that they can do for you, but now you need to pick up the torch and keep moving forward. Only you can see what lies beyond that, right? And then we have this Daughter of Swords, which to me is all about sort of doing something in a new way. The Daughter of Swords has changed her mind. It's like the Daughter of Swords is the radical in the Swords family. The mother and the father are both fixed in what they think and believe, and the son is old enough and has the burden of following them, that he believes whatever they believe. And the daughter is the same, but you can see like she's looking in a direction that is kind of sort of opposite the way her body is turned. And she's looking in the direction that the sword is pointing. And so it's like there's a better way to do whatever. She's going to do things her own way. And then you have this Sun card, which is all about the sort of happy ending, followed by this Eight of Cups. So it's going to require her doing things in her own way, right? Whatever the mindset of other people was, it doesn't benefit you anymore. Things have changed. The situation is different. Um, and so, what was I talking about? With the Queen of Pentacles, it's like when you get older, she knows that, that relationship changes. Instead of them being decision makers for you, they can be, guides, advisors, informants, consultants, something like that. They give you advice, but they can't live your life for you. And it's not that they love you any less, but it's just something that they have to learn. With the Queen of Cups, it's like she never really gives you an opportunity to grow. And like earth is literally the element of growth. And water is an element of fluidity and movement and change in some ways, but water can also sort of be stuck in the sense that it's confined to whatever vessel it's in. So if you find like if you're water but you're in a pond, you're never going to go anywhere. You're going to be in that pond your whole life. If you're water in a river, you get movement, but your course is kind of sort of predetermined. If you're water in the ocean, it's a lot more vast, and I guess like you are confined, but it's so vast that it's like I don't know if you'd ever think that you are. And then if you're water that falls from the sky, then hey, you can end up anywhere. You know what I mean? Okay. So for being centered, I'm going to go with the Hangman because you know, because that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, look! Ooh, okay. This is interesting. So the Hangman is literally the third card, and so I'm gonna pull these two. And I just want to note that the High Priestess and the Ten of Pentacles. Oof. I'm pulling this card as well because look, you see that moon in both of them. There you go. But one of these moons is waxing, one of these moons is waning, but they're both a crescent. This is on opposite sides of the eclipse. The High Priestess is when the moon is traveling in front of the sun. The Wheel of Fortune is when the moon is leaving. But this is close enough to the eclipse that it still looks like it's night outside, right? And then you have the Ten of Pentacles over here. But with the High Priestess and the Wheel of Fortune, and look, you see that owl up there? That's the Daughter of Swords. She knows. I told y'all she knew. She knows what's up. So with the Ten of Pentacles over here, it's like the High Priestess knows the direction to get here. And the High Priestess also knows that things are about to change. This is before and after the eclipse. The High Priestess could be Cancerian energy because it is the moon. The Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter. It's going to be a new moon in Cancer. Jupiter is in Capricorn, so they oppose. I mean, it's going to be an extremely, extremely loose opposition because the new moon is going to be what, like maybe 1 degree Cancer, maybe 2. But I think it's going to be like pretty fresh into Cancer season, so a degree or less. And then Jupiter is like 20 something degrees in Capricorn. But if we just talk about sort of the energies that they're in, they are in opposition right now. So this is interesting. But this is in the space of being centered, right? Yeah, this is in the space of being centered. So it's like the more centered and grounded and balanced you are, the more assured you'll be in this. Because with Jupiter in retrograde in Capricorn and with the moon, it's going to be in Cancer. Something about this is going to seem counterintuitive. And if your intuition, like if your trust is off, it's giving me Isaac and Moses and Isaac vibes again. Because there's a pivot, I think. There may be something that changes, maybe. But if you have enough of a divine foresight, then I feel like the path isn't going to be that different for you. But see, and maybe that's one of the differences between the hangman and the hermit. The hangman is a lot more knowledgeable. The hangman is a lot more knowledgeable and aware than the hermit because the hermit only sees at the end, at the edge of his lantern. The hermit only sees what his lantern illuminates. And if you are a hermit that ain't got a strong lantern, you're not going to be able to see much. If you're a hermit that hasn't really moved at all, you haven't seen much. But with the hangman, it's like the hangman. That's that. It's like that's that energy. Um, like the hangman is the 12th house. The 12th house is the collective subconscious. It's like prisons, asylums, illusions, fantasies. It's that sort of that dream realm. And I feel like it's prisons and asylums and illusions because it's like that is the realm of the astrals itself. And so all energy, all potentialities, all possibilities live there. And so it could be really easy to get lost in it if you're not a native. And even if you are a native, sometimes you get swept up in it because you still get enticed a little bit, you know? But it's like the hermit is a visitor, and the hermit is Virgo energy, right? The hangman is Neptunian energy. That's the 6th house versus the 12th house. They're naturally opposites. That's the hermit going into hangman territory, but all he has is his lamp. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the hermit is Virgonian energy. Virgo would not do well in a realm. See, in general, it wouldn't do well in a realm of illusion and fantasy because it is so abstract and Virgo is so concrete. But with the light of with whatever is within the scope of the hermit's lantern, it would do really well because it's concrete. And so it's like when you're talking about little sections of it, I feel like hermit energy, Virgo energy is really well. It does a really good job of being like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. This doesn't line up. That's an illusion. That's fake. It's false. But when you're talking about navigating the realm as a whole, that's where Virgo, the hermit, would get lost because it only sees towards the edge of its lantern. And why am I talking about this? Oh, that's why I'm looking for the hangman. That's why I looked for the hangman instead of the hermit. I feel like I was going somewhere else with that, but I can't remember. Um, oh yeah. The foresight, divine foresight. So if you were more of the hangman energy, then I feel like you don't necessarily have to have the whole picture, but you understand the flow and you understand some of the energy and the undertow that runs underneath everything that happens. And if you've been more of the hermit, it's like you understand more of your immediate environment, your immediate surroundings. And so when you come up on this bend, like, in 5 meters, you don't see that coming. The path has been fairly straight, but now you feel like there's this drastic pivot. But with the hangman energy, you understand the flow of everything. And so you can just feel that shift in energy coming. And then you can feel when you get closer to it. And so it's a little bit less of a leap of faith, or it's a little bit less of an intuitive shock when that change comes, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't make sense, I can't explain it any better. So balancing power is going to be justice for sure. I guess we're doing majors today. Eight of Cups is the first card at the bottom of the deck, but after you walk away, Nine of Pentacles. And after this Nine of Pentacles, after you walk away with this Eight of Cups and come into yourself with the Nine of Pentacles and your self-worth and everything, then this Four of Wands comes back. And look at who we have here. This Hermit. And then after the Hermit is the Moon card. Exactly. Like, this Hermit is going to be lost. Like, you got a candle in the dark compared to, like, the whole moon. Right? This is 12th house energy through Pisces. So Pisces is the moon card, and Neptune rules Pisces. So that's the link between the Hermit, or that's the link between the moon and the hangman, if you recall, if you were here. Pisces energy is the moon backed by the hangman, because Pisces is the card of the moon. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. The hangman is the card of Neptune. And then you have this here, this Virgo energy. Virgo is backed by Mercury, which means the hermit is backed by the magician. And so with the moon and the hangman, it's almost like there's this energy of the magician uses tools to do something. The moon into the hangman, it's like the moon into the hangman twists etheric fibers to make things happen instead of using a tool to do something similar-ish. It's like the scope of power of the hangman is a lot greater than the scope of power of the magician. That's why in Norse mythology, Odin. Ooh, can I breathe? I don't know why all of a sudden I can't breathe. Where is this coming from? Oof. I guess we're dusting off the cobwebs. Um, that's why Odin hung himself from the world tree to read the runes, right? He read the runes that taught him magic instead of getting a bunch of tools that let him do tricks. So this is the difference between, being magical and performing magic tricks, I guess, in some ways. And some, oh, here's Justice. Ooh, goodness. I don't be doing this, y'all. It just be coming out. So now we have the Mother of Cups. Oof. And behind the Mother of Cups is that tower. So we have the Nine of Wands, which speaks to nearing completion of the end of an arduous journey. And then the Mother of Cups. Why do I keep saying Wands? The Mother of Cups looking at that tower, trying to protect that cup from the tower, not realizing that keeping the cup from this tree is what's causing that tower moment to become. Oof, I forgot that was inclined. And then here's the magician. Here's the magician sitting between Temperance and the Son of Wands. Like, you performing minor tricks over here that take you time to learn when you could just be a master of that energy. Anyway, and then we go from the Daughter of Wands. No, we go from the Mother of Swords to the Daughter of Swords to the Ace of Swords. Someone is changing how they think. It almost feels like she's regressing, but she's getting closer to the truth instead of her truth, right? Because her truth is sort of, it's not that it's tainted, but it's so heavily tied to her experiences that it's filtered. There's a filter on her truth. And the truth is less filtered, and that tasted like grapefruit. I just ate a vitamin C drop. Okay, I guess this is the story that I'm running with today, in some ways. So maybe that passion project was related to a relationship that someone else stepped in and kind of sort of with that Two of Pentacles, because it does represent change and juggling, but they were also sort of intertwined. And so maybe someone was preventing a change by thinking they were protecting something. As further evidenced here, so we have this. I said that this Mother of Cups trying to shield this cup was causing this tower moment, because over here we see the healthy tree, right? But preventing whatever this is keeping whatever is in this chalice from completing their journey, coming into this Emperor energy, and kind of sort of keeping them stuck in this Tower energy. Even though that's not her intention, of course, because she loves her um, child. But that's one of the ways that the Mother of Cups falls over the Mother of Pentacles, right? Or any of the other mothers. That's one of her downfalls, is that she can be um, too sheltering, and that she can limit growth. And like that's literally the point of life. Everything grows, evolves, changes, and then falls, right? And you can't. I don't know. I mean, you can, but it serves nobody. Ooh, Five of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. Somebody might have empty nest syndrome, maybe. You know. And then we got the Six of Cups with the Five of Cups. See, that Ace is gonna come in and make that Five of Six, where we, everything is balanced and right and healthy and great. So for manipulation, I guess I'll go for the Mother of Cups. And I don't mean it like that, and I don't think she really means it like that either. But it's how it plays out, and it's the shadow side of her energy, of course. Um, so I'm gonna try to give this a good shuffle, because we just saw her. We'll try to see if she's still with that tower, and if she's still with the tower, then the manipulation is causing that tower. So hey. I'm trying to shuffle this as tightly as I can, and it's coming out pretty good. Okay. See, look at that. Like, that's fairly, whatever. And I gave it a few of them, so I'm going to give it a 3 cut and then a 2 cut down the middle. And we have the Ace of Pentacles with the World. That's the 2 cards we're starting with when it comes to manipulation. So breaking free of this manipulation is going to be what leads to this. It's a new vision of what's possible in the future that really closes this chapter and really opens you up to everything. Cosmic alignment is what popped into my mind. Don't know what that's about, but it opens you up to everything. And here's the Mother of Pentacles. See, so the Mother of Pentacles is sitting. Hold up one second. She's sitting between the Father of Wands and the Daughter of Pentacles. And so she knows that, her little baby, you see her little fresh fawn down there, is like growing up. And with that rainbow, it's like it's for her to experience her own sort of whatever. And she knows that to limit and to continue to treat this more grown deer as this little fawn is to prevent their ability to sort of go out and experience the world, but also to go out and make things happen in the world. It's keeping them from realizing their dreams and desires, because having their dreams and the desires, that's a daughter or a son of Wands. But realizing those dreams and desires, that's the father. And then we have the Six of Swords with the Star card, followed by, how am I doing this? Yeah, Six of Swords, Star, followed by the Eight of Swords. Like that, that caterpillar is ready to come out of the cocoon. But whatever all of this stuff is that whoever was manipulating, like it's preventing this movement from happening and preventing this, like keeping somebody stuck and trapped and keeping them from achieving their dreams with the star card. Like the father of wands, that's what I was saying, the person who goes out and makes it happen. It's, let me just wrap this up. Let me wrap this up. So I just saw the tower, and the Mother of Cups is not with the tower, so the shuffles works. The shuffles worked. So I've seen all of the mothers. The Mother of Pentacles, the Mother of Swords, and the Mother of Wands just came out. And so the Mother of Cups is going to be the last one. Oh, where is she? She's plotting. She's scheming. Where is she? The Sun and the Daughter of Cups just came out together. Okay, so we'll do this. We have the Two of Cups, the Son of Cups, the Daughter of Cups, and the Strength card. So her children are definitely ready to, like, they're finding the strength and courage to move forward with whatever that is. From with the daughter and the son of cups being together, I feel like on both the feminine and masculine side of whatever this emotion and energy is, it's ready to evolve and it's ready to change. It's grown already. And then here we have the father. So this is okay. I guess I'll pull all of these out. How did this come out? So it was the two first. Two of Cups, then the Son of Cups, then the Daughter of Cups, then the Strength card, and then we have this Father of Cups, followed by this Knight or the Son of Pentacles. You can't see all of them, but you've already seen these, right? So then after the Strength is the Father of Cups and the Son of Pentacles, right? After that Strength card, so it's like everyone is kind of sort of ready for the story to progress and proceed, but the Mother of Cups is still hanging on. And again, and then like here's that Death card in the Empress transformation coming into this power with that Three of Pentacles, or with the Three of Cups, which is all about community, and that Nine of Wands reaching the end of the journey. And now we have this Mother of Cups coming in, and all right. So sitting outside of all of that is this Death card. No, it's this Empress, because Death came out before the Empress, right? So, or did the Three of Cups come out after? It was the Son of Wands, it was Death, and then the Empress, and then this Three of Cups. Yeah, that's how it went. So it's this Three of Cups, and it's this Moon card. The Moon and this Three of Cups is sitting outside of, and I guess I'll just say it. I didn't say what the other cards were, but oh yeah, I said the Nine of Wands came out first. So we have the Nine of Wands and this Moon card nearing the end of the completion of that journey, and then it's almost like, you know, you're walking up the staircase to the light, and then you get on that floor and it's all dark. And I don't know, this is interesting. I'll actually keep both of these down here because I want to remember that, because I see the card that's coming out after that. But whew, goodness, this is kind of sort of intense, a little bit. But I feel like one of the things that makes it easier for this Mother of Cups to begin to let go, or to begin to allow whoever it is to grow, is this card, because they already see that whatever they've been guarding and protecting, it's growing, excuse me, in so many different areas. I feel like they're coming to a spot of, maybe because of your growth, maybe they're coming to a spot of realizing how they hinder that in some ways by continuing to try to shelter you and to protect you, when it's like the things that they're trying to protect you from, they don't need to protect you from. And it's like by trying to protect you from whatever, they're keeping you away from whatever will bring you happiness. So let's just go ahead and do this backwards because I don't want to end on manipulation, and we're already talking about this. So we're gonna go from manipulation to balancing power to being centered because I feel like that makes sense. From everything that came out, I feel like we're starting here, and then once we get our balancing power, we start to learn to even the scales, and then being centered is once we're centered. So the Hermit is that card up there. The Mother of Cups came out between the Hermit and the Nine of Wands. And remember, I said it's like, we get, like, we see this light up here and we're ascending the staircase. And once we enter this room, it's actually dark because we get this moon card. But the light that was up here is actually the light that's within you. And so, I mean, the Mother of Cups, like, is Cancerian energy. And so maybe, oof, okay. On a super level, it could be there are enough people driving that whatever this divine feminine energy is, it's going to be unleashed in a way. And so maybe our ability to manifest things is going to be increasing whenever we come into that Cancer season, basically. And then here's this moon card, Twin Peaks. That's a city. Twin Peaks is a city in Minnesota, maybe? Hey Siri, where's Twin Peaks?
Okay, here's Twin Peaks, San Francisco.
San Francisco? All the way in California? I mean, Twin Peaks could be anything, right? It could be a ski resort. It could be anything. It's interesting that we are in Gemini North Node now as we're coming to this Cancer season. Because with this moon card, it's like something about duality. I had it and then I lost it. And this isn't necessarily there. I mean, it is, but it isn't because it's like as above, so below, right? And I guess I kind of sort of say as above, so below a lot. The way I interpret as above, so below is it's like as above, so below is similar to as within, so without. And it's a mind over matter principle. It's actions, its thoughts become things. It's basically the law of attraction. It's like the way that you think about things and feel about things is how they come to be. It's how your perception of something influences your reality. And that a lot of that is more as within, so without, right? So thoughts become things, law of attraction, your perception is your reality. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. All of that is the as within, so without principle. But as within, so without also corresponds to as above, so below. And as above, so below is more of the way that we kind of sort of experience things in our personal lives, especially collectively, is reflective of how things are changing on a higher level. It's like, let's say that like God or the universe or spirit is playing a chess game, right? And so it's like things down here reflect the chessboard up there. And so it's like when things begin to change up there, things also begin to change down here. And when things begin to change down here, you know that something is changing up there. And as above, so below is an ability to sort of zoom out, right? and look at maybe the energetics of a situation more so than the physicality of it. Um, it's because like whenever energy changes on a less dense level, whenever energy changes on an above level, it doesn't necessarily have to be as dramatic and violent because on an above level things are less dense. So it's kind of just like, it's like if we have a piece of rainbow tape, right? Or a piece of rainbow cloth, and we move from red to orange to yellow to green to blue to indigo to violet. It's like up there, it's just like you run through the thing and you see red, you see, like, let's say you're stationary, you see red, and then you see orange, and then you see yellow, and so forth, right? But down here, it's like changes a lot more um, since it's so dense. Like, things have to happen to initiate that change, right? So up there, it's just like you see it changing and moving and flowing and shifting. But down here, it's like something has to happen to reflect that up there. And since it's so dense down here, it's like something bigger has to happen, something more drastic, something more extreme has to happen to get that shift and that change to come in. And it's it's I feel like I didn't necessarily do an extremely good job of explaining what I mean by as above so below, but as above so below is just the reflective nature of things. How like sometimes things that you're experiencing in your personal life are a reflection of what is sort of going on in a collective sense, right? And then I feel like it's a lot easier, like above to below is a lot easier to sort of there's one way that's easier to get things done, and another way that's easier to observe and to see, right? So, whenever your personal life changes, it's easier for you to see that everything within your sort of vicinity is changing. But to, how do I, it's easier for people to notice that they have changed when their surroundings are changed, right? It's easier for people to know that they've changed when their financial situation changes, the people that they encounter change. Like when things get easier, then it's easier for people to be like, wow, I've changed, I've grown. When in reality, it's like you do all of that on the inside first and then it happens on the outside, right? So to make that change, it's a lot easier to do it on the inside and then to allow the world to change around you, but we don't see that change until like we observe it on the outside and then we go, oh, it's because it happened on the inside. I spend too much time trying to it is it's like it's hard to explain any simpler than that. Like it isn't, but it is, because it's like, I guess like if you are intuitive at all, or if you have a gut instinct at all, then as above, so below was like the above would be your instincts. Like I know this is gonna happen. I feel this changing. The below would be when it actually happens, right? And so you see, there's a bit of a time delay between the two, and that's why it's easier to change things in one direction, and then it's easier to know that it's been changed or see that it's been changed after it actually happens because that period of delay. Anyway, something about duality is changing and shifting here. And it feels like it's because again it's like something shifted above or something is shifting above, and so now it's beginning to shift in the below. There's an opportunity for it to happen. Now with this hermit, because I guess this is manipulation on a more global level rather than a personal level. What is this? Oh, these are my shorts. I was looking for those. Sorry. I'm gonna eat a few peanuts because I'm hungry. You know, vessels got to need fuel. Mm, 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 mm. I feel like I'm doing slightly better of maintaining a train of thought, which is interesting. Maybe it's because I'm coming into a Mercury trine, a loose Mercury trine, but anyway, enough about my birth chart. Things have shifted in the above, or are shifting. There's an opportunity for things to shift and move in the above. And so in the below, it's almost like it's like whenever you download an update, a software update on your computer, right? First you download it and then you have to restart your computer. So that's the restart that's happening or that happened down here, right? Everything slowed down, a lot of stuff shut down. We enter this period of darkness, and then as the computer is coming back on, right? Because we hit the restart and we're literally restarting, economies are resuming, restarting or resuming, economies, life, everything. Things are beginning to happen, but since the software changed, we're no longer operating in a business as usual type of sense, right? We're even closer to this great and grand thing that we've been working towards as a collective society of making the world a better place. We're getting closer to world peace and global equality and equity and stuff like that, right? But it required this reset, right? And that's why things in the duality game are changing. It's like something about polarity and duality is changing. Maybe we're rebalancing the poles. Whereas things have been kind of like this for a while, where it's like a lot darker than it is light. We're coming into a more even balance. And balancing power is the next sort of thing, the next thing to tackle, right? So all of that is the above level or the without level. Now, on the within level, again, if this is our personal lives, this could be someone realizing that the dark that they're trying to protect us from is actually the way that they like you see that wing over the cup, and then it's like, oh my gosh, little cup, it's dark outside, and little cup is like, well, if you move your wing, maybe I'd be able to see the sun. And so this moon is kind of sort of whatever you've been able to see and experience beneath the wing of this mother. And I was going to go looking for the sun, but the sun is balancing power. And so I'm going to pull these two cards and then we're going to move over and see what that is. Um, and so it's like you've been able to find enlightenment while under her protection. But it's like, it's time to leave the shell. You don't like you've reached the edge of what you can accomplish under this wing. It's time to upgrade your lantern, or it's time to learn how to navigate in the realm of the moon without the lantern. Honestly, it's time to navigate in this without the lantern because that's the final step, right? Like I said, like once you ascend these stairs, you enter this room that was light from your perspective, but when you actually get up there, it's dark. It's the moon. It's the one of the final phases. It's you learning to navigate and operate, coming into your own Mother of Cups energy, where the stars are kind of sort of within you, right? And then that's, coming into your own intuitive ability. Because the Mother of Cups is like the minor of the High Priestess, and that she's the most intuitive minor arcana card. Then we have the Two of Swords and the Eight of Wands. I love this. For manipulation. The Two of Swords and the Eight of Wands, it's like us being sort of stuck in this decision, us being stuck in this light versus dark conflict is what stopped all of this. But once this manipulation is over, once things open up, once these two swords are uncrossed and they become these two trees, once our understanding of whatever this is, our ability to navigate this and not be lost within it changes, that's when everything can begin to move. And that's sort of the power of this eclipse season, I guess. It's freeing up a lot of things that have been held stuck and stagnant in this sort of polarity game, right? And honestly, it's our understanding of it more than the game itself, kind of. Anyway. See, I was trying not to go here today. I was like, oh, nice. This is like, I don't know what this is about, but at least it's not like some grand thing. But it became that because as above, so below. As within, so without. It's like a mirror, right? In a mirror, when you move your hand, that hand moves. And when, right? And if our eye was quick enough, if we had a camera that was fast enough, that had a shutter speed that would like capture that moment, we may notice a delay between when we move and when the reflection moves. But in real time, it happens so quickly. To us, it's at the same time. And in reality, there could be a delay. Now, the delay is more pronounced when, let's say, the fluid that you're observing, the media, the fluid medium that the image is being translated through is denser than air, right? That's why sometimes with water, a reflection can be like distorted or something. I can't remember exactly what it is right now. But I know when you do something through water versus doing it through air, it's different because the water, the fluid medium is different. And so it introduces a delay because it has to travel through all the water molecules, right? Essentially. And with air, with gas, it's like gases are just, they're all over the place. They're moving, they're not tied down. And when you go from a gas to a liquid, they're more free than they are when it's a solid, but they're more confined than when it's a gas. And so it's like, with as above, so below, it's like here we're doing it through gas, and there we're trying to do it through a solid. And that's why it takes so long to sort of trickle through. And maybe with this, and with this more so in particular, we're going to be moving from trying to translate things through solid to translating things through something more of a liquid, and it becomes more fluid, and that's why things kind of sort of speed up or they get easier or the flow sort of changes, is because we're moving from solid transmission to more fluid transmission. And I don't know. Moving forward to this balancing power, we have the Sun, Justice, and the Lovers. It's interesting that we have two things here in both of these, and then we got one Sun, just one. Right? Even in the Moon card, we only got one moon, but there's two trees in it. Right? And so with balancing power, this is interesting because according to these cards, balance is a choice. Balancing power is us choosing light, us choosing to be happy, us choosing vitality and freedom, us saying that, you know what, it's been dark for long enough. And we did the thing in the dark. We tried to make things happen in the dark. When we tried to make things happen in the dark, it's like, We got a little bit of a flicker of a candle flame, but it was still dark, and we're done in the dark. We want to come to the light. And so we're choosing this, right? As we're coming out of this reboot, as we're resuming things, it's like, you know what? Since everything is stopped anyway, before we start doing all that stuff that we didn't necessarily like in the first place, let's just go ahead, throw it out, replace it, update it. There's going to be a period of time when maybe like we don't have one system and we're coming into another system, or we're phasing out one system as we're phasing in another system. And there's a period of unknownness because we've never operated within this sort of bandwidth before. But for sure, we're choosing this because the Lovers is all about a choice. And the Lovers, in some instances, is about lifelong choices. And this is a lifelong commitment to the light. And that's gonna be what balances us. That's gonna be what moves us forward. But it's a choice with the Lovers. Balance is a choice. Like as long as you are a person, everything will be a choice. You can choose to be mad and upset, or you can choose to adopt a different perspective. It's always choice, right? But with the solar plexus, this is decision. We're moving from choice. We're moving from choice to decision. This is choice. This is decision, right? And to be decided on something is to continue to choose the path that aligns with that decision, where it becomes almost automatic, right? That's the difference between choice and decision. Choice is something that you have to make. Decision is something that's already made, right? So a lifelong decision is to commit to continuing to make the same choice. We have the Five of Swords and the Six of Wands. I love this. Okay, because I saw this Five of Swords and I was like, ooh, with balancing power. But then we have the Six of Wands here. And the Five of Swords is this in this deck is someone who is victorious. Like usually the Five of Swords is a card of bullying. This is the bullied taking up their sword and being like, you know what, we've had enough. And then we have the Six of Wands, which may be like a march or a protest. It's June 1st. Hey, Pride Month. So there are a lot of freedoms that we have and a lot of freedoms that we enjoy because whoever was being bullied or oppressed rose up, stood up, and maybe they did things in a way that some people thought was a little bit extreme or a little bit excessive. But because they did what they did, people listened. And over time, things happened. And now we can have things like pride parades, right? Where it's still maybe contested in some areas, right? Some people may still think whatever they think, but more and more we're finding ourselves with rights that we definitely didn't have in the past. And those rights came because these Five of Swords, people who were being bullied, decided to stand up and be like, you know what? You're not, like, I'm not taking it anymore. I'm not taking it anymore. And then they found victory. So, hey, we have an opportunity to kind of sort of do the same, but kind of sort of on a larger, grander, more collective scale because everything has been shut down. So we get to tackle multiple systems, right? But again, it's a decision. So the decision is also going to be to stand up for yourself and to not be pushed around and knocked down and all that stuff anymore. You know, with great power comes great responsibility, but we have to prove ourselves responsible. And right now we're in a time of proving. And then it's like when we prove ourselves, then the above Mother of Cups can, you know, remove her wing from this cup. She's like, okay, you've proven yourself. And then it's like she goes from guarding you to like pushing you forward. Like, okay, now it's time to fly. Right? But see, this Mother of Cups, she's not going to push you from the nest until she knows that you're ready to fly. No, in the real world, some of them birds end up on the sidewalk, unfortunately, because they weren't ready to fly. But this mother's like, oh no, like you're not ready to fly. You're not ready to fly. And so it's like you're gonna have to prove that you're ready to fly before she allows you to fly. And then we're entering the territory of like, all jobs require experience, but to get experience, I need a job. But to get a job, I need experience. But to get experience, I need a job. So how do you get experience? How do you prove to someone that you're ready to fly when they don't allow you to fly? How do you prove it when you can't do it? We'll see moving forward. I believe personally that, we're up to the task and things are going to change. That's the viewpoint I choose to hold on to. That's the above that I choose to believe in to give it some more push to come down to the below. Now, in the space of being centered with the hangman, we have the Father of Swords and the Chariot. And I love these energies. I love these because this Father of Swords is giving me, the Father of Swords is with the Chariot is giving me Knight of Swords vibes. But this Knight of Swords is a king, right? It's a king who's going down to battle because ultimately, like when like the king doesn't really like get off of his throne for anybody, but when faced with a threat big enough, he leads by example. He'll go down and he'll charge. But he's like a warrior king, so like he's gonna win, right? Like his people aren't necessarily worried about him. Now the King of Cups, the King of Cups, you might have to worry about. Like, you don't know how to fight. What are you gonna do? Like hug him? Like, I mean, this is why you have people here for you. This is why you establish the connections with those people who will come in and do this for you. With the King of Pentacles, this is why you establish these resources and you use your resources to do whatever. But with the King of Swords, he's like, oh no, I got this. Like I was born and raised on the battlefield. Like this ain't nothing to me. I can make quick work of this, and I can save the lives of the novices. But at the same time, it's like if the novices never get any experience, then when the king is gone, are they going to know how to fight? I don't know. And so maybe that's another reason why things had to get shut down. Maybe that's another reason why things had to go dark, right? Because the king can't do everything all the time. If the king always does everything, then nobody else would ever learn how to defend themselves. And when it's time for rulership to change, if the king fought every battle, what's going to be the state of the kingdom when the king decides to retire? Now you have this king that never retires, who is old and gray, and his time of rule has long since passed. But because he didn't give anybody else the opportunity to grow, he's the only one that can protect the kingdom. Even though he's like old and he can barely move, he still fights better than everyone else because he never gave anyone else the opportunity to rise. And that's why when things got dark, folks were given the opportunity to rise. And that's why when things begin to lighten up, folks will begin to rise, right? Ooh, the tower. The tower. Speaking of folks rising, okay. Speaking of battles, speaking of fights, okay. You get this tower here. Now the tower, this is being centered. So this tower is telling me that it's time to find a new center. And that's what this balancing power is. That's why we're going from manipulation to balancing power to being centered. Because we're breaking the chains with manipulation, which means we're rebalancing. And as we rebalance with the duality and with the polarity shifted, right, we're finding a new center. And that's why this tower is here. Uranus is in Taurus right now. Taurus being the sign associated with the Earth, like the planet Earth. It's Venus, but it's also Earth. Uranus being a planet of, it could be a planet of radicalization, but also change and rebellion. And Taurus, it's like, okay, things need to change, But yeah, I love the Father of Swords and I love the Chariot together because I feel the Chariot as a very the Chariot is about movement and the Chariot is fast, but the Chariot isn't moving for no reason, right? The Charioteer has a destination in mind and a purpose in sight, has a destination in sight and a purpose in mind. And the Chariot energy has a lot of conviction. If the Charioteer didn't have the conviction, he wouldn't be able to get the sun energy and the moon energy on the same page. He wouldn't be able to balance the ego and the higher mind, or the lower mind and the higher mind, the lower heart and the higher heart. He wouldn't be able to do any of that. He wouldn't be able to go anywhere if he didn't have that conviction. And this is all about really taking up the sword. And then we see the rainbow colors for Pride Month. Whoop, whoop. Rainbow colors. Rainbow colors. Rainbow colors. He's been enlightened on many a level, and he's got this new conviction, and he's moving forward with it to see things happen. Ooh, I don't know. It would be really interesting because I feel like low key, kind of, sort of feminine energy has been, at least over here in the West, in the U.S. Feminine energy and the feminine perspective has been suppressed for a long time, right? Speaking of manipulation and solar plexus. But it would be interesting to see feminine energy come into its own at the same time that everything else is being sort of rebalanced. And then it would be interesting to see that as feminine energy comes into its own and as feminine energy contributes, it purifies or calls to a truer masculine energy, right? And not the toxic garbage that we've had. Right. It'll be interesting to see those two work together. When the heart can meet the mind, and when they can move forward together as one. The Chariot. If we can get them on the same page and then move together and then proceed. It's interesting. Okay, so I don't know what I'm going to title this. I'll probably just title it Solar Portal. Solar Portal 6-1. um, or maybe out from Mother's Wing, coming from under Mother's Wing or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to shuffle these up, get the final messages, and then I'm going to do everything that I need to do with the rest of my life, which is like eat. I don't think I've eaten yet today, besides like some Pop-Tarts. I'm starting to get hungry. I'm starting to get famished. Speaking of the solar portal is also our sense of sustenance, right? And it's almost like, let's say that our diet is getting cleaned up. Ooh, okay. So here's some cards. So the Daughter of Swords was on the table, and she slid from under this Fool. And I was like, oh, the Daughter of Swords and the Fool. I get it, because that's what I was saying. But then I noticed this Eight of Pentacles down there as well. And so she may be cutting some of them threads, cutting some of them webs, right? Because the Eight of Pentacles is about something that's well established and something that's had. Because the Seven of Pentacles is about giving something the time it needs to grow. The Eight of Pentacles is what happens after we've given that thing the time that it needed to grow, right? And so, like, we've already sort of dedicated time to the situation, but with the Daughter of Swords, it's like it's time to cut our losses and to do things in a newer, better way, leading into that Fool card. So, love that. Oof. See, and then it's like, I don't know, man, because like when you're just above focused on like, oh, this is how things are changing and it's gonna be beautiful, like awakening, mass awakening, new earth, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, the above perspective is really cute. Like all of a sudden, energies just shift and change, and things are, cool. But on the below side, something has to happen to allow all of that to come to place. Like in the 3D, like how often do you see things just kind of sort of happen? Now, historics and like textbooks are sort of, biased. but I don't know if I was necessarily too much seeing peaceful exchanges of power or peaceful transitions from one age and era to another. Like with the way that people work, unfortunately, it seems that it always involves a certain element of transformation. How did I get reversals in this deck? Well, I guess this deck just told me that it's tired of being all upright. So we got reversals now, apparently. Don't know how that happened, but it happened. So the wild unknown is now, and then some cards just fell on the floor. So those will be the ones that I take. Actually, I'm going to put these back, and I'm going to count those out last. So this is going to be a little longer because I want to make sure I have all my cards. Wow, I can't believe that deck just really went. That deck just really went and did that. I was like, nah, we ain't all up right no more. It's time to take off the training wheels a little bit. So we're going to be looking for a final message from the Pride Tarot. This started off not how I thought it would, but I was so, for a second, glad that it wasn't me just up here trying to talk about, oh, like this is what's happening, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? It's fine. I take it, like the messages that need to come out, and I just read the cards. I read and I listen, and I read and I listen. Okay, there we go. Ooh, is that the Three of Pentacles? Ooh, it is the Three of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. Now, the Three of Pentacles in this deck is more of an energy of a surrogate family. So it has the element of community from the Three of Cups, but these are friends in a community that becomes a family because, you know, of a Five of Pentacles situation. And so this is finding love in places that maybe you didn't find it before. And then we have this Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is a wish granted. It also speaks to moon cycles, right? And look at that moon. Look at that right there. You see that right there? You see all them other cycles of the moon? Maybe, maybe not. So maybe we're going to be entering a new golden era, you know, an age of peace that hopefully doesn't come with the in between that's too brutal or that's more brutal than it already has been. You know, after this reset, maybe the reset is giving us the most easily transitionable energy. We're like, you know, hopefully we don't, not hopefully, because I'm choosing to believe that we're not going to need a whole other war or something like that, right? So it's not going to be easy because transitions are always transitions, and transitions down here, more often than not, come with a bit of a tower moment, right? But I mean, we can love each other, you know? Bottom of the deck is the Hangman. Whoop, 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 whoop. Y'all be sleeping on them hangmen. Watch them rise, watch them fly. I went to sleep early. I took a nap. And I woke up from my nap like, when did I go to sleep? But I might be taking another one. I feel like I'm kind of sort of recovering from all of that sleep I wasn't getting. And so now my body is trying to get more sleep, and I'm actually able to sleep a little bit. So that's nice. Let's see. Final Oracle card from the Magical Dimensions. I'm always on here for so long, but it's only been an hour and a half, and I'm wrapping it up. So I guess I'm kind of proud of myself today. Breakthrough. Is this breakthrough? It's breakthrough. Oh, what is this? What is this? Challenges. I was just thinking, oh, we had challenges before. We're breaking through challenges. We're breaking free. Ooh, with magical realms, we're soaring. and flying. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. If we're trying, then we're breaking free. Breakthrough is leap of faith, freedom, and new beginnings. Challenges again is blocks, fears and negativity, and betrayal. We are breaking through the blockages, breaking through fear and negativity, breaking through betrayal, taking a leap of faith, claiming our new beginnings, and all that, again, backed by Magical Realms. Magical Realms, number 28, belief, confidence, and co creative power. Co creative power. We're going to come together and create systems that serve everybody, you know? And just because we've never done it before, just because it hasn't happened necessarily yet, doesn't mean that it's not possible. And for gosh darn sure doesn't mean I'm going to stop believing that it's possible. And doesn't mean that I'm going to get complacent in a place that I don't want to be in just because other people say that, oh, we can't go there. It's like, okay, well, have you ever tried? No, you haven't ever tried because you've enjoyed where you have been. Okay, well, you know, the wheel turns on everything. And judgment happens for everyone. And the day of reckoning will come. And hopefully, you know, you're in a decent spot when it happens. And if you're not, you made choices, and those choices have consequences. I think that's one thing, I guess, kind of sort of non surprisingly, that's one thing that it's so interesting that people will make choices and then try to refuse the consequences of those choices. Every action has a reaction, equal and opposite. Choices come with consequences, some good, some bad, right? Actions have results and have effects. So, and then people want to be like, oh, I made that choice, but I don't want the consequences. I'm not that bad. I just made the choices. And you're like, okay, well, choices come with consequences. So maybe you should have thought before you did something. It's like people don't want to, they want to laugh and smile and do whatever while they're making choices. But when the consequences come down, then that's when people want to like cry or act remorseful or pretend. And it's like, you know, I get it. I understand that no one wants to face consequences. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, well, maybe you should have made better choices. So you get no sympathy from me. All right. Give this a few of these. Give it one cut. Then I'm going to four-pile this out. Make sure I got all my cards. And I'll just read the ones on top and then put them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, we got the Five of Wands in reverse for the first pile, with the Father of Swords in reverse at the bottom of the deck, or the pile. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. The Hermit in reverse with the Chariot in reverse at the bottom of the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. And this is going to be the Fool upright with the World upright. Hey, the World upright and the Fool upright. I love that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the cards are here. The Father of Pentacles is upright. And the Eight of Wands is in reverse. So we have chaos, we have confusion. Father of Swords in reverse. Maybe a withhold. Oh, with the Lovers. The Lovers is on the other side of this chaos and confusion. So hey, let's choose this side, right? Yep, we're gonna do it. Oop. Hey. Confusion. With the Father of Swords, it's all about manipulation, honestly. It's withholding certain information and it's telling other information to create a space a zone of ignorance, of um, what's that word? Oh, it was in my brain and then it left. It's not. It's like not discombobulated. Of discombobulation, confusion, and misinformation. Right, purposefully. It's doing that purposefully because the Father of Swords knows what he's doing. And so, since there's this element of confusion that's been sort of propagated with the chariot at the bottom of the deck, it's like no one has been able to make any real forward movement, and no one can really make sense. It's like you're trying to make sense out of something that was never intended to make sense. You're trying to make sense out of something that is intentionally misguiding. And that's another difference between the hermit and the hangman, right? Because the hangman would know the space that he's in because he's familiar with the area. The hangman or the hermit just like has his little lantern. So he's always trying to make sense out of whatever he can see and perceive in a realm that is not built for that, right? When you go into the dark, when you go into the inner self, you are supposed to be of the inner self. The inner self. When you enter the self, you are supposed to be of the inner self. And so it's like you're trying to bring consciousness and logic and reasoning to a space that is abstract and that is not built for that. And that's why the hangman navigates it so effortlessly and flawlessly, is because he doesn't necessarily fit in with the conscious world, maybe. So it's like the hangman is the hermit of the light. So, but anyway, now we have this fool. Ooh, what is that? The Two of Cups. I picked up half the deck and the Two of Cups was at the bottom. So now here we have this world card. It's like, you know what? With this fool, it's like, ooh. The fool is like, oh, this may not be the best idea, cause but we're gonna see what they do with the world before we wipe and reset everything. Before we cleanse the world through virus and then warfare and then storms and everything else happening, before the volcanoes start erupting all over the planet and earthquakes start and floods start and tsunamis just come and just let's start all over. Let's give them an opportunity to do something better because we could always reset the board, right? Like the earth could literally decide to just wipe us out tomorrow, right? We can have earthquakes all over, we can have tsunamis all over, we can have volcanoes erupting all over. Like the earth could literally just like open up and drop us all into a pool of magma, you know? But it's like, before we do this whole other, 40-day flood or whatever, let's give them an opportunity. It may be foolish, but maybe they're up to the task, right? And so that's we have the opportunity to come into a whole new chapter globally, right? But it's like, we got to sort of come into whole new chapters within our own countries and nations before we can kind of sort of do it globally. So if we choose the right leadership or if we choose to move forward in a correct way in isolation, then we can choose to come together. But, we need to clean things up here before we try to involve other people because, don't want to invite other people into our mess. And then we have this Father of Pentacles. I think the Father of Pentacles says that, with the world that we're given, with our rainbow antlers, we can do it right. Maybe this time. Bottom of the deck is that Eight of Wands in reverse. So it's like, divine intervention, divine understanding. It's Eight of Wands in reverse. And look, there's the Daughter of Cups in reverse. It's time for us to be our rainbow selves. It's time to come out of hiding, come out of the shadows and shine your light bright for all to see. Oh, look. Two rainbows, rainbow sword, rainbow shadow. What was I about to say? I don't know. It's time for the below. The Eight of Wands upright is all of the above change, and now it's time for the below change. And with it being in reverse, it's like, it may be a process. It may not necessarily happen overnight, but it's all about dedication and decision making right now. Not about easy choices that lead to maybe band-aiding, but ultimately nothing, right? So this is where I'm going to shut this down. I never plan these, mostly. I guess even when I do have a plan, it's like, oh, let's see what comes out. So, yeah, I hope you do whatever you need to do to have whatever time you want to have moving forward into the future. And I am just like so hoping and believing and manifesting as part of the co-creative power, co-creative manifestation. I'm choosing to put my hope and trust and faith and energy and belief towards the side of us getting through this on a better way, in a better way, and moving forward into something new that is more prosperous and harmonious and peaceful and abundant and serene for all of us. So, as such, I will be sending people light all day long. Love, I guess. It's like I do, but it's like at the same time, like, choices have consequences. So, me believing that you are responsible for your actions, and me believing that whenever you make a foolish choice boldly, that you are responsible or you are liable for reaping whatever those consequences are as a result of those choices and actions. Doesn't mean I love you any less, right? Because how would you grow? How would you do better, right? If I really loved you, I would want you to grow and be the best you that you can be. And sometimes it comes with hard lessons, but like if you never learn a lesson, how would you grow? I don't know. I feel like it's weird to say that you love somebody, but then you never allow them to grow or evolve or change or become their own person or make their own decisions. Or it's like, I love you like I love my stuffed animals, and I love you like I love my dolls, and I love you like I love the characters on my video game, where I get to determine and dictate everything you do. And it's like, but when you love something animate, when you love something that can make its own choices, right? Part of loving it is allowing it to grow. Part of loving life is finding appreciation for seasons, right? Because life isn't static and dynamic. And if you only like something, if you only love something when it isn't changing or growing, then newsflash, you probably don't really love it that much. You love controlling it, maybe. You love the version of it that you created. But I don't know. Get a Sims game, and even on the Sims, sometimes they do stuff that you may not necessarily like or want, but it is what it is. All right, I'll catch y'all later. See ya. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be here with like something cool, something closer to what I would enjoy and like and appreciate on my channel, because I think it would be the next step for me. For now, at least. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. See you later. Bye.